The third quarter wraps up tomorrow. All major indices are up big, but can they rally through the final stretch of 2025? Meanwhile, President Trump announcing on Truth Social, our movie-making business has been stolen from the United States by other countries, like stealing candy from a baby. In order to solve this never-ending problem, I will impose a 100% tariffs on all movies made outside of the U.S. So interesting mix of things going on here with markets and movies and Hollywood. Brianna, I get tariffs exist to try to, help domestic industry. Do you love helping out Hollywood with tariffs?
I actually think this might hurt Hollywood. A lot of these Hollywood industries, they go to places like the UK, Canada, Australia, because there's very attractive tax incentives there. And I think that Trump threatening to impose a 100% tariff actually exposes the hypocrisy of these Hollywood elites, because they want all these social government programs expanded. Yeah, you can raise the taxes, but as soon as it's going to hit their bottom line, they flee to other countries. So I think this is a great move to show their hypocrisy, to bring back, movie making to America, and to hopefully change their minds for the next election.
Jackie, do you want movie making brought back to America?
I sure do.
Is Hollywood making the kind of movies that you want to see a heck of a lot more of in the world?
Absolutely. And actually, Canada, for example, a lot of the movies on the Hallmark Channel are made in Canada. And some of the scenes are just gorgeous. But we've got beautiful, great planes here, too, where we can do it. Trump went after Hollywood last time around, too, in his first term. He made agent fees that impacted Hollywood. When they pay their agents to secure them roles, that used to be a deductible expense, a business expense. He took that away. He knows how to sort of push on them where he needs to, and this is another way of doing it. But listen, it's not just about manufacturing of furniture or trucks or all the things that we were talking about last week, kitchen cabinets. It's also doing production here too. So if you're going to do it, throw the whole kitchen sink in and get on board with this. I think he's doing the right thing. And I think that, Hollywood, when it talks about this country and the social programs and the need, then pay your taxes. For those people who say the rich people don't pay their fair share, they should do their production here and pay for all of that stuff that helps the people with social programs that they support. They should put their money where their mouth is.
All right, Dagan, we got a lot of fans of Make Hollywood American again. Is this going to make Hollywood American again? Do you like it?
I'm trying not to. There's a rule in TV not to take on the topic, but it is really hard for me to care about Hollywood. All of entertainment contributes like a drop in the bucket in terms of our GDP. It's like, is it 1%? Is it even 1%?
I don't even think it's probably that much.
I think it's like maybe 1% of our GDP. ChatGPT says it's 4%, which I think is too much because it's throwing everything in there. It's including all arts and cultural industries contribute about 3 to 4% of our GDP, which I think is wildly overstating it. My biggest concern is we started this show talking about all of the issues that President Trump is trying to tackle overseas, and a market that is kind of blithely ignoring every imaginable risk.
Love it.
That we're facing. Why do you wait? Because you can ignore geopolitical risk, right? But investors are also ignoring economic risk, financial risk, fiscal risk.
Help me understand.
Why
Okay.
Why is that good?
So
I guess there's opportunity
don't see the economic
to short.
or financial risk. So maybe I need you to elucidate. What are the economic and financial risks you see? Because I look at an economy that's accelerating at 3.8% growth now estimated by the Atlanta Fed. Labor market's cooling but under control. AI is energizing, no pun intended, actually pun intended, the entire economy. And it's not just AI that's driving GDP growth. If you look, there's contributions from every area of the sector. And corporate profitability is getting ready to accelerate even more. If you look at this bull market from 2020 to 2025, 75% of it has been driven on earnings growth, not multiple expansion. It's been mostly on the profits of companies doing better and investors doing better for investing in them. So that's all signs point to that continuing into the next 2 to 3 quarters.
If everything is so awesome-tastic, in this nation. Why is this administration running a $2 trillion budget deficit?
So now we're talking about two different things.
No, I'm saying that's a risk.
That is
a risk that needs to be factored in. That you have a $2 trillion budget deficit, despite we're basically borrowing money and running a massive budget deficit when times are good, and emergency programs that never go away. And the Energy Department, throw up that graph, is telling people don't use the word subsidy. Or look at that, tax breaks, tax credits, and subsidies. Don't use those words. Oh, okay, so we're going to pour more than $500 million into coal and call it an investment. That's awfully Bidenomics of you.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with this deficit
spending. Stop spending money.
But they won't. They've shown that they can't. So that's why gold and Bitcoin have been rallying, because that's the hedge against runaway politicians.
It's warning you that the dollar is collapsing, and that's actually what triggered ultimately led to the financial crisis in 2007.
We could go long-term capital management crisis. You could go the financial crisis. Yes, there's always a black swan event. I do agree with you that runaway spending is the big risk, existential risk to this. But politicians have shown time and time again, left, right, center, they don't know how to do anything but keep spending money they don't have.
The risk. I'm looking at the fixed income risk. I don't mean to take the wheel and drive the car into the ditch, but that's the existential risk that the market is ignoring. That credit markets, everything is fine. That's when you take the other side. When everything seems to be going just gravy, that's when you worry.
You are a contrarian of sorts, Lou, from time to time. This seems like a very non-contrarian take from you're kind of riding
when the
this
facts
wave.
line up, I can't argue with the facts. Stock prices ultimately follow earnings over the longer term. Are these risks existential and real? Yes, they are. But stock markets remain irrational a lot longer than people can stay solvent betting against it. So you look at when people called the top in the dot-com era, it was like 96 and 97. The market ran for another 3 years.
Well,
people are calling the top in AI right now. I'm telling you, the underlying fundamentals suggest another 2 to 3 years.
That's when Alan Greenspan called it. And nobody was looking at Alan Greenspan thinking, great stock picker.
Well, but now they're saying that to Jerome Powell.
I like writing on a legal pad in the bathtub.
We don't hire Fed chairs to be our stock pickers. That is true. But Jackie, wade into this debate a little bit, because I think it's worth having. From the sort of the market perspective, earnings perspective, things look okay. From the fiscal perspective, you've got the problems Dagan came up with. Credit is one of those things we're debating a lot right now. Corporate credit spreads over treasuries have shrunk big time.
Indicative of a recession.
So again, it's another one of those situations where it's like, have we gotten too eager to buy that stuff because everyone's chasing yield? I don't know.
I worry about it.
Weigh in?
I have brought it up. Cyclically speaking, I don't see a market that can keep going at this pace and have it be sustainable. Some people have tried to change my mind, and on some days I'll buy into this whole AI is changing the whole situation and this is different this time. And then the wiser part of me says, I'm not so sure that it is. But you're talking about spending. We're talking about a lot of different things here. We're talking about the market and the government. We're also dealing with this pending government shutdown. Right? And you've got a president who's dealing with Democrats who want to spend. And they want to put all kinds of spending. They won't approve it. They will hold the country hostage. They will shut the government down if they don't get what they want. So this is the kind of world that we live in. And I still think about the big, beautiful bill. I know what the president was trying to do. He wanted to pass growth-creating policies, that would help the American people. A lot of that was tax incentivized, but he also had to rubber stamp a bunch of spending and not cuts that were deep enough for me. And so we've got to think about where we are as a nation, how much longer we can keep going at this pace. And $37 trillion is our national debt. It's not just a number on a paper. And we need politicians and officials who are going to look at it that way, figure out true ways to compromise. But otherwise, we're headed for not only, a problem situation in the markets, which eventually, Lou.
Well, always, yes. But right now, my job is to make money while the markets are good, right?
But we've got to get our personal fiscal house in order. And the problem is that the Democrats will just keep spending into complete oblivion because I think they want to see the whole thing blow up.
Well, if you get a shutdown, you might get some permanent firing out of that. I don't know that Democrats wanted that, but that's what Russ Vogt over at OMB is talking about.
Shutdowns are still good for the markets, by the way.
Yeah, and they don't
shut it down.
Shut it down.
Shut it down.
Okay,
Just
so
let it happen. We're not political. We don't have to run for our jobs. Well, not for a while.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, ChatGPT.
We're here for a while.
If you get a shutdown, you'd have a lot more time to drink coffee.
Yes.
Today, I believe, is National Coffee Day. Jackie, what's going on with
It
Starbucks?
is, and I love a good cup of black coffee, and that's the cheapest way that you're going to get it anywhere, including Starbucks. The coffee chain celebrating with the launch of its new protein lineup starting today. Starbucks' new protein lattes and cold foam drinks are available for purchase. The new lineup includes 4 signature protein drinks, along with a variety of protein cold foam flavors. Customers can also substitute protein-boosted milk for an extra charge, of course. And I learned this morning that some of our anchors here at Fox, like Brian Kilmeade, they do a lot of sugar with just like a little bit of coffee added in there.
No kidding,
But, you know, Starbucks has been struggling, Brian. We've talked about their food and drink options. Some have said they need to streamline the menu. In other ways, like this initiative, they're expanding their offerings. We'll see if that's going to be beneficial. I'd love to see what the charge for an upshot of protein is.
Brianna,
It's your $8 drink.
Is protein coffee going to get the younger crowd excited about Starbucks again? Is it going to make it that place that they got to go?
I don't think
Protein
I have any
coffee?
leg to stand on. I don't drink coffee and I don't drink protein drinks. So.
Okay.
Well, you're not in on that one then. Lou, what do you think?
I'm not
You
going
think
there.
this
I
is
mean,
good?
are these collagen peptides that have benefits for skin elasticity, or is this like protein powder for us that work out at the
Makes
gym?
you
I'm still not going to
muscly.
Starbucks for this.
And I don't know if I want that in my coffee.
What is it? Does it have flavor? Does it just make it like soupy? What
They
is
said
it?
4 different flavors with cold foam. I just
4
don't-
different flavors.
Yeah.
Dagan.
Yeah.
Because people who ingest extra protein this way, they're very often part of the health movement. Well, where does the protein come from, right? Is it whey protein? Well, that'll make you gassy.
Yes, I was going to say.
Is it from animals? Is it hoof? Is it hoof
Or peas?
protein? Just curious.
Lots of kind of proteins.
Because again, it's like, I'm so healthy, let me just put some random powder in my drink, not knowing really where it comes from. I'm so healthy, I'm just protein uptaken.
I'm going to say you're a no on this.
I just, like, if you want to eat protein, eat some eggs.
Right.
Just boiled eggs.
Are you saying I shouldn't be drinking my protein tea right now?
Well, you're drinking it in a cup with microplastics.
It has a
We don't
a
have to go
piece
there.
of like bone in it. That's how you get
A bone
protein.
broth?
It's like bone.
Bones add
Bone
flavor.
tea.
Gelatin
Yeah.
comes from bone.
All right,
Yeah.
we will break
Bone
down
tea.
this protein conversation later.
You
and
see
figure it
where
all
I'm going
out.
with this.
We see
Oh,
where you're
with
going.
powdered, but powdered hoof.
Powdered
That's where I
hoof.
get my protein.
Little powdered hoof in your tea, can't beat it.
Delicious.
Okay, coming up,